Hello, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is you're watching, and welcome to our first Fontaine patch review. It's the 4.0 series of patches, 4.x actually. And yeah, I'm calling it a Fontaine patch review because we are like looking at a lot of stuff, right? Since we are again in the start of a new nation, we have our conquest to look at, we have the main event that happened, we have the area to see, so it's just Fontaine patch review, right? It's not just main event. So yeah, and because we have all of that stuff, we're gonna need to start quickly. We will start with the Archon quest to get it out quickly. And then we move to the Fontaine region itself and finish off with the event. As always, camera shrinks. Enjoy some Abyss background video, cause fuck me, because they always drop the nation patches when everybody's on fucking vacation, including me, and I didn't have a good PC or to record some stuff while on vacation, at the very least. And yeah, unfortunately, you're gonna have to watch some Abyss footage. Sorry for that. Enough of that, though. Let's begin with the Archon quest. Spoilers, of course, although it's not gonna be huge. I will say I enjoyed the first act, and I much preferred the mystery solving section over something like the thinking sections in Sumeru, especially in Act 2. Right, the idea was okay, what they had with the thought stuff with the traveler. The mystery solving stuff is 1,000 times better, especially in UI reasons. Um, there were also there were still some thinking sections, and they suck. But yeah, like again, comparing them to the mystery solving, especially the storyboard, the kind of uh, section of the trials, they were like much better. The trials. I will say that at some point the UI in the trials was bad, especially on controller. It was very tough to see what you were doing. And it was the section that wasn't the storyboard. There were like some bubbles in the top corner of the screen, and you put like evidence in it, and then you checked if you were correct on some questions. I don't know exactly how to describe it to really tell you what it is. It's just more evidence stuff, but it had but the UI was just soft in the corner, and I was just moving the analog stick, hearing sound effects as something was moving, but I couldn't see it. It's like over right there. Like, well, actually, it was right there in the corner. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did they put it so small over there in the corner? Imagine if you're playing it on a TV. So yeah, like that was the one section that I didn't like. But overall, I liked the first act. Can't say the same for Act 2, though. This act was so unnecessary to the main plot, and I got very bored of it. I completely ignored everything that happened in the first half before the trial because I couldn't care less about Navia, and even then, the story was like not non-existent, but like it didn't matter in the slightest for the actual Archon quest. And even in the trial, the story was pretty bad. They could have written a thousand better ways to frame Child and force him into a trial, as well as revealing the existence of the primordial seawater and what it does. And this one was not one of the good times, like one of the good ways to do it. I'm sorry, but this act could have not existed, and it could have been 10 minutes, and it would have been better for the entire storyline. And that's what bothers me. Similarly to the Sumeru Archon quest, we have a quest line and storyline that we will remember as decent, but both will have this black sheep of an act that is both of their act twos, actually, where the story kind of gave up before picking up again. So yeah, I was good with Act 1, but Act 2 was very bad. Other than that, my goodness, I laughed so much in the Vasher cutscene because I can't take these shitty NPC models anymore. Like, come on, the spirits of the women he killed just looked so shit, being so low res and low poly in the close ups, and they basically a posed towards Vasher and around him. It was so bad, it was very funny. And by the way, from the very first mention of the machine that makes the decisions in the trial, if you couldn't guess that it would put out a false decision, or one that goes against against common sense, to be honest, of course, against Nouvellette, I don't know what to tell you. It is the most cliche thing that could have happened, and they did it. And I'm like the instant moment they said the last decision is made by the machine, I'm like, I can already see this entire Archon quest in my head. And it's like, and I was completely right. It's like, you could have done something different. Come on. Now, before we get to the exploration, I would like to mention, I don't know how I did this. I somehow managed to hide the Archon quest. You get a red dot that tells you there is an Archon quest or some sort of other new quest. Well, somehow I made it disappear. Yeah, I'm not joking. And I believe I did it without opening the quest menu. Something might have lagged on the bad PC that I was playing. But yeah, that and I just teleported to the new teleport point because I thought that's where the Archon quest was gonna start, but no, you need to go to Sumer. You need to go to Caravan Ribat. I don't know if I butchered the pronunciation there, but you need to go to that place in order to start the Archon quest. And I'm like, why the fuck would you need to do that, to be honest? And I'm like, I'll just teleport to the teleport point. I even saw the cutscene that plays when you're there. And I'm like, well, I guess the Archon quest is gonna start. I'm gonna board the Aquabus thing and it's gonna start. Nope. And I just went on my merry way to explore, and I had explored. I basically explored all of Fontaine before the Archon quest, without wanting to. Like, it's not. This isn't a complaint, but to be honest, you can hover over the Archon quest, and the red dot from the quest should disappear, and I think it did. But for story quests, it doesn't. And I'm like, fuck you. It's like, the story quest is more important than the Archon quest. No, it's not. So, like, why did the red dot disappear from the Archon quest if I accidentally, again, hovered over it in the quests menu, but not from story quests? Right? But, like, yeah, I had explored so much of Fontaine before I realized that something was wrong. I was like, fuck it, I'll make it my goal to explore everything. And yes, I did world quests before the Archon quest. It was funny. Maybe you'll like to try it out. And with that, let's move on to the Fontaine area itself. Let's begin with the big world quest, since we're gonna go from quest to quest. I'm very happy that they decided to have more quests that are shorter rather than the one gigantic world quest that basically all of Sumeru's areas had. Everyone doesn't like the Aranara quest's length, and even the desert quests also would drag on for far too long. So again, happy to see smaller world quests. So we have 3 world quests. Let's start with the Melusines. It was honestly, the storyline wasn't that engaging or interesting. It's the classic Mihoyo, or to be honest, the classic media thing of they try to grab you by using the Melusines as, look at the cute little creatures, now care for them. Right? And ignore the storyline. They're cute, you should care, this quest is good because of that. Fuck that. I do not bite that shit. And also, fuck this whole thing Mihoyo does. And they will not stop, where every quest is always, let's start with something peaceful, but oh no, something bad and evil is happening at the same time. Oh no, it's the Abyss or the Fatui or treasure hoarders or some motherfucker is involved. Some mystical force. And I'm like, fucking stop. Just make a natural, like, fine storyline. Like, the jet quests in the deserts were kind of that, but then at the absolute end, after you finish the second area, third area, whatever fucking area it is, no, the second area of the desert, and you finish the jet quests, follows up a quest line that completely fucks it up, and I'm like, wow. Like, why must every single side quest, like world quest character, why must every NPC not be happy? Like, seriously. Ay. Yeah, like yes, the Elinas. I think it. I don't know how it's called. I'll call it Elinas because it's the Greek word for a Greek person and it sounds funny. The Elinas region has, it's mysterious and stuff, but we have seen this happen so many times. It has become so stale. I fucking hate it. So overall, I didn't have the best time with the Melusine quest line. After that, there is the what I will call Small Oceanid quest line or Marianne quest line, because I have no idea what to call this world quest, and I will not like the narcissism, whatever the heck that is called. I cannot pronounce that, and especially many types. So yeah, it was also very much same shit. Here is a group of friends that help each other, but no, they were like part of a story, and like the little son, it gets depressed at the end and some mothers, and I'm like, it was just not a good quest line. I like the environments you passed, that you explored with this quest, although I expected something more with the dragon. But the story wise, nope. And last is Mister's I Am the Storm That Is Approaching questline with the Hidden Institute. My goodness, can the writers for the World Quest, which I guess are the same for the Archon Quest, can they like think of a quest that doesn't have a motherfucker that betrays the Traveler? Right? If it isn't the something evil is happening at the same time, it is you start with somebody and they betray you at the end. So many fucking times it's happened. Like, please, I swear, stop it. Right? It's always just help me out. This is gonna be good. I'm doing this for good, and then close to the end, haha, I evil. I mean, what can I say? It's been done so many times. I like the Institute area. I like when they combine underwater plus, like when you switch underwater to non-underwater or non-underwater, you get the idea. I like when that switches up, and again, the Institute was good. But the story wise, again, this shit was so obvious from the start of the quest, it pissed me off so much. So in conjunction, these were definitely not the best world quests by far. I don't know how you feel, but for me they were very weak. The areas that you get to explore with them are decent, but the stories that accompany you through these areas are not. So to move to the gameplay side, it was pretty okay. Of course, we have the new underwater areas to explore, but before that, I want to comment, I guess, on some comments that I saw for the areas. Many people said and have expressed that they feel that Fontaine is extremely small, even with the underwater included. And while I agree in a degree, to a degree, I agree with that statement. That definitely it felt smaller than Sumeru, definitely, but some other areas especially. I think that there's something a bit more to this comment that people are making, that they feel that the areas are smaller. Um, and it's gonna be a bit of an explanation, but especially coming from Sumeru, the thing is that Sumeru has giant plains, lots of hills, and really big mountains. And when you step on these mountains, on the top of them, you can look around you and just see giant. You can like look at the horizon and see land. And even if that land is from other areas, like you'll be able to see Dragon Spine in the distance, you'll be able to see the chasm and stuff, but you're still looking at land, let's say. You feel like there's a lot to explore. You feel like there's a big stretch of land that you're gonna need to walk, right? I believe that because in Fontaine, the topology just isn't like that. There aren't giant mountains. There are some high mountains, but they aren't giant compared to, again, many in Sumeru. And of course, you have the sea. Like, if you climb one of the mountains, you'll be able to see the borders of the islands you're in, because they're kind of, they're very islandish, the areas in Fontaine. I believe that because of that, people are kind of thinking that the area is small, even though there's plenty of things to do. Underwater wise, the areas are decently big, but again, I feel like, especially coming from the deserts of Sumeru and stuff, because of the giant stretches of land and big mountains, Fontaine feels smaller. Is it smaller? Yes, it is smaller. Of course, we still haven't seen all of it. But again, I feel that we're maybe exaggerating a bit because of this optical illusion. And again, I just wanted to make that. It's just a bit of a, food for thought. But getting onto the exploration, I will say it was okay. Plenty of new mechanics to play with in puzzles. Enemies are eh. I've already expressed my disappointment with the Pneumosia mechanic in the Abyss video, which in exploration and puzzles is perfectly good. Find the node, hit, interact with, find the blocks, interact with them with the puzzle mechanics. They're good, but in combat, it can kiss my ass. But how about that underwater? Because above land, there isn't much to really say. There's enemies. I liked the Elina's challenges where you stepped in, you killed the dogs, and then you needed to defend stuff. That was a nice change. But how about the big thing, which is underwater? Well, I can say that whoever made the showcases for the underwater stuff is stupid. Um, and that is because all underwater showcases made the movement feel extremely sluggish. But seriously sluggish, but it is not. Players have plenty of special stamina to dash around. I would have liked if the Statues of Seven increased the underwater stamina at the very least, but whatever. And there are many mechanics to keep you filled with the stamina or speed you up. There's also some okay puzzle mechanics underwater, nothing crazy. The one thing that sucks underwater is combat. It is simply garbage. I hate it, like, and playing it on controller with with how I've changed the bindings. Playing it on controller is even worse. The attacks do no damage to enemies. Like the smaller enemies can definitely be two-shotted or one-shotted, but bigger enemies just don't. And you cannot increase the damage in any way. It is true damage. But also the problem is that all of the enemies are not interesting to go up against because your movement is so limited underwater. They need to design the enemies in a way that doesn't, that isn't extremely boring or extremely unfair, but still they couldn't get it. I'm sorry. If newer enemies appear and maybe they're better, I hope for that, but now these enemies just know that. But couple that with many of them dealing massive amounts of damage that can easily two-shot you, or if they're like a secret boss or elite enemy one-shot you, it just ends up not being fun. Yes, there's a lot of the fishes that heal your entire party, but I do not want to randomly teleport to a location and get one-shotted by a mechanic. A big example, there's a commission underwater that is breaking the barnacles, like the barnacles that shoot things at you. And that commission is exactly on top of a teleport, and if you teleport, you're gonna instantly get shot until you load in. And it's like, come on. And they deal a lot of damage. Come on. And I also, as I was exploring, I ran into the special bosses, the legends, and I was like, they are not taking any damage because they have special mechanics, and good luck finding how to defeat these special mechanics. But I ran into them randomly. I think one is close to a domain, and I'm like, I just got one-shotted randomly from an enemy that I did not see. Thank you. Like, I hate that. I did not like underwater combat. Additionally, I want to comment on the high-speed drafts that honestly are not that high speed. I know that the game is meant to be easy, but come the fuck on. Like, in my opinion, the speed that you have when passing through a speed up mechanic, is it like a ring, bubbles, or whatever, should be the base, because when there is a gap between passing through any of these mechanics, you slow down so much. And if you've played the event, as you can guess, because this was part of the event, I won't have the best comments for that part of it. But yeah, other than those things, underwater exploration was okay. It was decently good for a first time. Most of the abilities that you got from the special underwater creatures worked nicely with puzzles and challenges. I kind of don't like that there aren't any sort of voice lines underwater, even at like opening chests. It's not that good. Like if there isn't even like music playing, which can happen a lot of times, the absolute dead silence is not that good. And also, why the fuck do chests drop their drops just out? Like I've seen challenges that pop chests drop, like have the drops in the water. Some have given the drops to me immediately. Like, why the fuck do chests again just spew out the drops? Why don't they just teleport in the inventory? Goddamn. And this is gonna be a bit of self promotion. If you're playing on PC with a controller, I do suggest looking up a video that I've made for the auto pickup that you can enable. Just doing a dash or you can buy the key yourself. But like dashing through the chest and getting all of the drops was a lifesaver when exploring underwater. And let's finish off with the event. I don't understand why they didn't have the exploration focused event. Like when I entered Fontaine and I saw that I was getting stuff for exploring and defeating enemies, I was like, hell yes, this is an awesome event. But this wasn't the main event, and I was like, really now? This is literally the best idea, especially for the first event of a region. What is the best thing that? What is the one thing that people are gonna do? Explore. Reward them for exploring. Like, and make it and the story of the event could easily be just the Archon quest. Give some extra rewards to people for finishing the Archon quest. Ain't gonna hurt. Come on. But oh well. Story-wise, the main event was so bad. I am amazed a person managed to write this, and I've seen many people complain about this. From an incredibly stupid story, to also not being voiced, like I guess having a new Archon quest was so tiring for the staff, not necessarily the voice actors, I would guess, but for the voice directors or programmers, that they couldn't put any sort of voice acting in the main event. But they also made fun of themselves for including a bunch of garbage in the dialogue. Like, wow. Incredible. They literally just wasted your time. And I'm like, wow. Again, I am amazed that someone managed to write this and make a fool of themselves. It's like, wow. Gameplay wise, it was not better at all as well. The rhythm minigame, makes shitty shovelware games from the PlayStation 2 and the Wii that have rhythm minigames look good. I already told you my comments about the high-speed underwater currents. They are okay, but slow. If it was faster, and also if the obstacles had a reason for existing, then it would have been really, really nice, actually. But they didn't. And then there was the classic, we gotta have some sort of combat in the in there. And it was yeah, like it wasn't even interesting fighting new Fontaine enemies. It's just the we gotta have a go around the area fighting stuff minigame. Like, come on. Overall, incredible garbage of a first main event. The first Sumeru main event was miles better than this one. And that is all of it. There was a lot of things to digest in the video, I know, but we managed to finish a bit quickly, thankfully. But what can I do, to be honest? The new nation patches always fall in the freaking summer, where everybody's on vacation. And they even fall for Greece at the very least, or Orthodox Christians, which my family is, I'm not. My goodness, they always fall on like an ethnic holiday, and I'm like, God damn it. God damn it, you have no idea, people, how painful it was to download the patch on a hotel Wi-Fi, well, an Airbnb Wi-Fi. In like a few hours, it had downloaded 3 gigabytes. Thank fuck I had unlimited data for my vacation, but goodness me, it was painful. But it's gonna be the same again with the Natlan, isn't it? Anyway, Hope you enjoyed the video. Like it if you did, subscribe to the channel to help it out, and follow me on Twitch to know when I am live, which is almost daily. Goodbye, people. I'll see you in another video.